Welcome to this explainer. So, you might think hitting those massive fitness goals is all about grueling physical workouts, perfectly timed protein shakes, and, incredibly strict diets. But what if I told you that you're actually missing the biggest piece of the puzzle? Yeah, clinical performance psychology reveals that the emotional connection you share with your personal trainer is literally a primary driver of your ultimate success. So why exactly do we quit? I mean, have you ever bitten the bullet, paid a premium for a trainer, and told yourself, okay, this is it. This is the year I finally get into the best shape of my life. You show up, you follow the meal plan, you push through the soreness, but then maybe a few months later, that motivation just completely evaporates. You start making excuses to skip sessions, you hit a plateau, and eventually you just drop out entirely. Now, your first instinct is probably to blame your own willpower, right? To assume, oh, I just lack physical discipline, or maybe that your trainer gave you a bad routine. But we absolutely need to stop doing that, because the real reason for failure is that we treat personal training purely as a physical transaction, and we completely ignore the psychological engine that actually drives long-term success. Let me ask you a question, and be honest here. Have you ever had a trainer who just stood there counting your reps while staring blankly at their phone? Right? It feels way less like an empowering fitness journey and more like you're paying an exorbitant hourly rate just to have someone watch you suffer. Section 1, the transactional trap, and how you might be sabotaging your own results. We so often view training as just a physical transaction. It's a cold, clinical, and frankly, kinda robotic business exchange. But doing that means we're missing the psychological engine, that emotional connection and inner drive. If you're stuck in that purely transactional mindset, you are totally missing out on the fuel that actually powers lasting transformation. So, we really have to understand the danger of this disconnection. The US has been battling a massive obesity epidemic for decades now, and personal trainers are a primary solution. But think about it. If your trainer doesn't care about you personally, why would you go the extra mile? Workouts just become a chore. Your inner drive completely plummets. And the absolute second it gets difficult, you fold. You just aren't going to push past your limits for a time slot on a calendar. You end up merely surviving the workout instead of actually conquering it. But what if I told you about a recent study of highly successful millennial gym goers? The crazy thing is, the secret to hitting their massive weight and body fat loss goals wasn't a perfect workout routine, no way. The real secret was actually building a deeply personal emotional bond with their trainer. Which brings us to Section 2, Self-Determination Theory Explained, the missing puzzle piece. Okay, let's dive right into this. Self-Determination Theory, or SDT. This is a truly brilliant psychological framework explaining that human motivation is actually driven by basic psychological needs. It maps out the absolute core drivers of why we do what we do and why we push ourselves to succeed. SDT breaks these needs down into three main pillars. First up is autonomy. That's the desire to be the causal agent of your own life. Second is competence, the need to experience true mastery. And third, the massive driving factor we're really zooming in on today, relatedness, or connection. When researchers analyzed those highly successful millennials we just mentioned, they discovered that relatedness was the absolute key to their goal attainment. Moving on to Section 3, the three core themes for building the ultimate relationship. So, Theme 1 is emotional connection. The most successful clients didn't just have a coach, they built a deep, really meaningful bond. They shared values and engaged in friendly social talk. And what this does is make the heavy, kind of intimidating pressure of the gym feel so much lighter and more relaxed. It wasn't just business anymore, it actually became a personal friendship. And that is perfectly captured by Theme 2, a mutually caring relationship. I love this quote from one study participant. They said, "If I'd had a trainer that didn't care, I wouldn't have gone that extra mile. I cared about my relationship with the trainer enough to want to do what they recommended." This is essentially a symbiotic relationship built on immense warmth and incredibly deep trust. Now hold on, before you think you just need to go out and hire a professional best friend to give you hugs between your squat sets, wait a second. Is that all this is? Definitely not. Relatedness isn't just about being perfectly nice to each other all the time. There's actually a huge twist here. Let's uncover that in Section 4, the power of dissonance, which is Theme 3. So dissonance means pushing the client well beyond what's easy or comfortable to achieve these massive stretch goals. The absolute best trainers provide incredibly positive reinforcement, sure, but they tightly balance it with this dissonance because the client inherently trusts the trainer from that emotional connection we were just talking about. They actually allow themselves to be pushed way past their perceived limits.
Section 5, your blueprint for success, the actionable steps.
Making this work requires mutual effort. For the trainers listening, you've got to avoid treating this strictly as a business. Exhibit warmth, share empathy, and crucially, check in with your clients on their off days so they know they're genuinely cared for. Then, use that trust to hold them accountable and push their limits. Now, for the clients, you have to show up ready to connect. Form real bonds, exhibit warmth back, and when they hand you an exercise that definitely isn't your favorite, accept the challenge because you trust the process. Oh, and use a notebook to journal your workouts to hold yourself accountable.
Building a real human connection is literally the ultimate performance enhancer. We have got to stop treating our fitness journeys like cold clinical transactions. The mind and the body are deeply, intimately connected, and your relationship with your coach is exactly what unlocks that full physical potential.
I want to leave you with this. Does your current personal trainer push you with that perfect balance of care and tough love? Take a hard look at your own fitness journey and ask yourself that. If you found this explainer helpful and rethinking your approach to fitness and motivation, hit that subscribe button. And definitely let me know your answer to this question in the comments below. Keep learning, keep pushing those limits, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.